A very good evening to our honorable speakers, distinguished dignitaries, teaching and non-teaching staff of our esteemed institution, and to all the legal enthusiasts in the audience. On behalf of Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies, Department of Law, I, Apurva Bhutani,
And I, Abhishek Vats,
take immense pleasure in welcoming you all to the celebration of the Constitution Day 2021 and to Maharaja Agrasen Institute of Management Studies Second National Moot Court Competition 2021. Department of Law was established in the year 2017 and ranks second amongst the institutions of Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. It aims at providing value-added quality education to attain greater heights in the domain of legal studies.
Saraswati Mahavidya, Veena Pustak Dharini, Hans Vahini Samarun, Vidya Buddhi Tadatume. Every grand celebration requires the blessings of the Almighty. And today, we seek the gracious blessings of Goddess Ma Saraswati, who is the epitome of intelligence, consciousness, enlightenment, cosmic power, and the divine knowledge. I therefore invite all the honorable dignitaries to please join us for the lighting of the lamp ceremony as we pray and remember Goddess Ma Saraswati through this Saraswati Vandana.
हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ
हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ तू स्वर की देवी ये संगीत तुझसे हर शब्द तेरा है हर गीत तुझसे हम हैं अकेले हम हैं अधूरे तेरी शरण हम हमें प्यार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ मुनियों ने समझी गुनियों ने जानी वेदों की भाषा पुराणों की वाणी हम भी तो समझे हम भी तो जाने विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे मन से हमारे मिटा के अंधेरे हमको उजालों का संसार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ हे शारदे माँ हे शारदे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ
That was a beautiful performance by the choir of first year students of Department of Law, Mains. Now let's move on. The Indian Constitution is a product of patriotic spirit, a thirst for social justice, and a never-dying spirit of unity in diversity, which originated from the minds of our charismatic revolutionaries like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and Mahatma Gandhi, to name a few. Known as the lengthiest constitution in the world, our constitution took nearly 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to be finally completed. And on 26th November 1949, our constitution was finally adopted. दर्जनों भाषा, सैकड़ों विधि और हजारों विधान हैं जो सबको बांध कर रखे वो हमारा संविधान है. In the spirit of the 72nd Constitution Day and to commemorate the ideas of justice, equity and fairness, let us all take a moment to soak in the essence of a sacred constitution I would like to request you all to please stand up as we pledge allegiance to our sacred constitution through this preamble. Kindly stand up and repeat after me. We, the people of India,
We, the people of India,
having solemnly resolved
having solemnly resolved
to constitute India
to constitute India
into a sovereign socialist,
sovereign socialist,
secular democratic republic,
secular democratic republic,
and to secure
and to secure
to all its citizens
to all its citizens
justice, social, economic, and political
social, economic, and political
liberty
liberty
of thought, expression, belief,
of thought, expression, belief,
faith, and worship,
faith, and worship,
equality of status and opportunity,
equality of status and opportunity,
and to promote
and to promote
among them all
among them all
fraternity,
fraternity,
assuring the dignity
assuring the dignity
of the individual
of the individual
and the unity and the integrity
and the unity and integrity
of the nation.
of the nation.
In our Constituent Assembly,
In our Constituent Assembly,
this 26th day of November
this 26th day of November
1949,
1949,
do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves
and give to ourselves
this Constitution.
this Constitution.
Thank you so much, everyone. You may please take your seats.
On this occasion, we are honored to have with us Honorable Mr. Justice Jayant Nath, former Judge, High Court of Delhi, Mr. Sudhanshu Batra, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Dr. K.D. Singh, Director Law and Central Public Information Officer at Competition Commission of India, Dr. Nand Kishore Gargji, Founder Chair and Chief Advisor, Maharaja Agrasen Technical Education Society, and Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi. Professor S.K. Garg, Director General, MEMS. Professor Dr. G.P. Govil, Advisor, Maharaja Agrasen Technical Education Society. Professor Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, Director, MEMS. Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra, Principal, Department of Law, MEMS. Dr. Praveen Kumar Gupta, Head of Department of Law, MEMS. Respected heads of all departments, respected faculty members from various institutions, and dear students, we heartily welcome you all. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Nand Kishore Garg sir to kindly felicitate Honorable Mr. Justice Jayant Nath sir. Round of applause, please. I now request Professor S.K. Garg sir to kindly felicitate Dr. K.D. Singh sir. I now request Professor Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta sir to kindly felicitate Mr. Sudhanshu Batra sir. Thank you. Now, I would like to request Mr. Shivam Sethi, Student Convener, and Sarthak Buddhiraja, Student Co-Convener of Moot Court Society, Department of Law, to present the introductory remarks for the event.
Good evening, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I, Shivam Sethi, feel privileged to welcome you all to the celebration of National Constitution Day 2021 and inaugural ceremony of MAME's second National Moot Court Competition 2021. In the beginning itself, I would like to thank our college management, respected Chairman Sir, respected Director General Sir, respected Director Sir, respected Principal Ma'am, our faculty convener, Dr. Nisha Dhanraj Diwani, and our faculty co-convener, Ms. Arushi Agarwal, under whose supervision and support we are organizing this competition at national level. The inaugural session of the MAME's Moot Court Competition 2020 was organized on the same dates in the year 2020. We received a fabulous response in our inaugural event from 42 teams pan-India. In the second edition of the MAME's second National Moot Court Competition, we have received a tremendous response of 46 teams pan-India. MAME's second National Moot Court Competition 2021 aims to provide a platform for students across India to showcase their advocacy and research skills by competing in a professional and challenging environment. The purpose for organizing this competition is to help the participants nurture their prime advocacy skills. Due to the ongoing pandemic, keeping in mind the security of all the participants, the oral rounds for the competition are being organized on virtual mode. We are back again, stronger.
The moot proposition for MAME Second National Moot Court Competition 2021 is based on criminal law and has been curated by Dr. Anant Vijay Maria, Advocate, Honorable Supreme Court of India, and has been vetted by Mr. Ritvik Mittal, Advocate, Honorable Supreme Court of India. The problem deals with issues like inherent right of trade and occupation by sex workers, enforcement mechanism against child pornography, and the conflict of right to privacy and media trial. With gracious support from our partners and sponsors, this year we have cash prizes worth Rs 55,000 along with other benefits worth thousands of rupees. The dream of organizing the competition started in July 2021. With hard work and contribution of all the members of the organizing committee, this dream is about to come true. Without further ado, I, Sarthak Buddhiraja, student co-convener,
and I, Shivam Sethi, student convener, on behalf of the entire MCS Department of Law, declare the competition open. May the best team win and succeed further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shivam and Sarthak, for sharing such an enthusiastic prologue and introducing the moot proposition. Also, congratulations to the entire Moot Court Society. Your efforts have definitely set the standards really high for this competition. Now please allow me to introduce our Director General Sir, Professor S.K. Garg sir, whose guidance and constant support has helped MAIMS to grow in leaps and bounds. He joined MAIMS as the Director General in August of 2019 after retirement from Deen Dayal Upadhyay College of Delhi University, wherein he served as the principal for over 20 years. In his 42 years of glorious career, he has been a member of various committees of the Delhi University, University Grant Commission, and the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, including the National Knowledge Commission's working group on higher education and the committee of the UGC, which designed the choice-based credit system in 2014. He has been the president of Delhi University Principals Association for 10 years. He has 16 research publications and many awards to his credit, including the Ambassador for Peace Award by the International Federation for World Peace. We request you, sir, to kindly deliver a welcome address and share your words of wisdom with everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. That's better. Thank you. Honorable Justice Jayant Nathji, former Judge of Delhi High Court and the chief guest for today's event. Dr. K.D. Singh, Director, Central Public Information Officer at Competition Commission of India and guest of honor for today. Mr. Sudhanshu Batraji, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Dr. Nankishore Garg, the Chief Patron of Maharaja Agrasen Technical Education Society and Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen University. My colleagues, Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, Director, MAIMS, Dr. Rajni Dhingra Malhotra, Principal, all the heads of the departments, members of the faculty, invited guests, and my dear students. It's great that our institution, as per the practice, has once again organized the celebration of the Constitution Day. Till about 6-7 years back, we were aware of that the Constitution of India was implemented from 26th January 1950. Although we were taught in our textbooks that the Constitution was adopted by the Indian Parliament on 26th November 1949. But that day of adopting the Constitution was not celebrated with as much fanfare as it is being done now for the past 7 years. Friends, you are all aware of that Indian Constitution is the world's lengthiest written constitution. No other country has such an elaborately written constitution as India has. And it has a lot of flexibility. It has been amended 105 times during the last 72 years ever since it was adopted. And these amendments again have a lot of flexibility. Depending upon how important the amendment is, there are 3 levels which are defined. There are some amendments which are done by the Parliament by simple majority. There are some amendments which are of a greater significance, which require an absolute majority to do it. And there is a third kind of amendment which are still of more significance. They require not only absolute majority, but it is to be ratified by at least 50% of the assemblies, state assemblies. So that is the level of flexibility which exists in our constitution. And there are three organs. One is the legislature. Second is executive. And third is the judiciary. Whenever there is conflict in execution, then it is the judiciary which takes the final decision. And this has been functioning pretty well during the last 7 decades or more. The only thing is that there are some lacunas left in our system, because of which there is a huge pendency of cases in the courts at every level. That pendency needs to be addressed. Our Honorable Chief Justice is emphasizing upon it and is doing his best efforts to resolve it through different alternative redressal procedures. But still, it takes a very long time. And sometimes I have seen a new phenomena also, not so new otherwise, that even after all the hearings are done, the judgment is reserved. And it is reserved sometimes for years. I, as a layman, I am not able to understand the reason for reserving the judgment. Once a decision is taken, once every procedure is completed, then why so much delay? Why so much pendency in taking the decision? That is beyond my comprehension at least. Maybe the honorable judicial people who are sitting on the dais can throw some light on it. My friends, the idea of organizing moot court competition is this only, that you as a student has the feel of playing the different roles. The role of an advocate, the role of a judge, and the roles of other staff which works in the court. So, I am very sure that this moot court competition, which is being organized on criminal law this year, will enrich you significantly and create your interest in handling real life litigations and help you gain confidence when you go out of this college and start practicing law. With these words, I once again welcome all the dignitaries and all the members in this house to this event and convey my sincere thanks for giving me this opportunity, and I convey all the good wishes for this moot court competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a warm welcome and sharing such intriguing facts about the Indian Constitution and the Indian legal system. The address was very potent and thought-provoking.
Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Sudhanshu Batra, sir, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Sir is a senior advocate, mediator and trainer. He joined the bar in the year 1986 and has practiced in all courts in Delhi and across the country. He was designated as Senior Counsel in the year 2010. He's also been a mediator with Samadhan, the Delhi High Court Mediation and Conciliation Center, since its inception in the year 2006. He served as an organizing secretary of Samadhan from 2011 to 2017. He's also impaneled with Singapore International Mediation Center and CAMP, a private Bangalore mediation center. He's also a founder member of Madhyam, a society for conflict resolution, and former vice president of the said society. He is a member of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industries. He has trained many lawyers and judges across the country in mediation. Presently, he is an elected executive member, senior designated with the Delhi High Court Bar Association. He is impaneled as an arbitrator at the Delhi International Arbitration Center. I request you, sir, to kindly address the audience and share a hint of your knowledge and expertise with all of us. Please, sir.
Honorable Justice Jayant Nath, former Judge, Delhi High Court, Mr. Nand Kishore Garg, Mr. K.D. Singh, Mr. S.K. Garg, Mr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, and Professor Rajni Malhotra Dhingra. Greetings to all on this auspicious day, the Constitution Day of India. This day is also called the National Law Day or Samvidhan Divas. It's indeed a pleasure to be one amongst a gathering of young, enthusiastic law students of this prestigious law college. 72 years ago, on this very day, we, the people of India, adopted, enacted, and gave to ourselves this constitution. In 2015, on the 125th birth anniversary of Baba Saheb Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, the government of India decided to celebrate November 26th as Constitutional Day every year. It has been a commendable initiative to reiterate our gratitude to the chief architect of our Constitution. As all of you know, India got its independence on 15th August 1947, and on 26th January 1950, the Constitution of India came into effect. Indians have always had a tradition of maintaining our Indian identity while also welcoming noble ideals emanating from diverse sources. This ethos also finds its reflection in the making of our Constitution. The Indian Constitution has adopted the best practices from several other constitutions of other countries. The imprint of our age-old values and ideals from our freedom struggle are also present in our Constitution. The Indian Constitution is of the people, by the people, and for the people of India. The Constitution of India lies at the foundation of the world's largest democracy. This is the supreme law in the country's democratic framework, and it continuously guides us. It is the fountainhead of our democratic system of governance and our guiding light. It is on account of sheer wisdom, prudence, foresight, and diligence that the makers of our Constitution prepared a vibrant and futuristic document which not only reflects our ideals and aspirations, but also protects the future of all Indians. A few of the important elected members of the Constitutional Assembly were Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, Mr. B.N. Rao, Constitutional Advisor, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the then Home Minister of India. There was a 2-month period between the adaptation and enforcement of the Constitution, These 2 months were used for complete reading and translation of the Constitution from Hindi to English. The Constitutional Assembly met for 166 days before the Constitution was adopted. During the adaptation, 2 handwritten copies, each in Hindi and English, were signed by the Constitutional Assembly members on January 24th, 1950. By 26th January 1950, the Constitution of India came into effect, and from that day, it has become the law of the land. The Constitution declares India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. It guarantees the Indian citizens justice, equality, and liberty, and endeavors to promote fraternity. Under the extraordinary chairmanship of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the Constituent Assembly accomplished the exceptional feat of blending and balancing different ideologies. The drafting committee under Dr. Ambedkar displayed unparalleled prudence, wisdom, foresight, honesty, and grit while giving the final shape to the Constitution. Our democracy finds its resonance in our Constitution. To ensure that the Constitution remains relevant over the time, the makers of the Constitution also incorporated provisions allowing future generations to make necessary amendments as may be deemed necessary. The Constitution of India lays down the framework of the political code, structure, procedure, powers, and the duties of the government bodies, and provides the fundamental rights, core principles, and duties of the citizen towards the country. In one of its speeches to the Constituent Assembly, Dr. Ambedkar, while underlining the importance of constitutional morality, emphasized that the essence of constitutional morality was to regard the Constitution as supreme and to follow the constitutionally mandated procedure regardless of any ideological differences. All the 3 organs of the state, persons gracing the constitutional posts, members of the civil society, and common citizens of India are expected to abide by this constitutional morality. It is thus the duty of every citizen to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, to cherish and follow the noble ideals of our freedom struggle, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women, and to value and preserve the rich heritage of Indian culture. Mahatma Gandhi, while speaking about rights and duties of people, had said, and I quote, "The true source of rights is duty. If we all discharge our duties, rights will not be far to seek. If leaving duties unperformed, we run after rights. They escape us like a will of the wisp," unquote. By incorporating the provisions relating to fundamental duties in this sacred document, our Parliament has made it abundantly clear that while being alert about their rights, citizens should also be conscious of their duties. Fundamental duties also remind the people of their moral responsibilities. It can be said that the soul of the Constitution lies in its preamble and in the parts pertaining to fundamental rights, directive principles, and fundamental duties. It is rightly said that rights and duties are 2 sides of the same coin. The Indian Constitution provides the fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression, and it also enjoins upon the citizens the duty to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. Therefore, if someone misconstrues the meaning of freedom of speech and expression and is about to damage some public property, then another who prevents him from indulging in such an act of violence and anarchy will be seen as a dutiful citizen. Therefore, we need to perform our duties and thereby create circumstances which would ensure effective protection of rights. Developing the secret the spirit of humanism is also a fundamental right of citizens. To serve with compassion towards all is inherent in this duty. There are other fundamental rights guaranteed in our constitution as well. We just heard about the aspect of judicial pendency. I would be rather happy if the Honorable Judge throws light on this, but I can tell you the public perception may not be the correct picture in the judiciary. There is definitely a position in our country where the number of judges while the number of population is far less. Each judge on an average is hearing 70 to 80 matters in a day. The pendency cannot be blamed only on the judges. It is, a judiciary is a vehicle where the judges have one wheels and the lawyers and the litigants are the other wheels of the vehicle. So it is important to understand that it is not the judiciary alone that would be responsible for pendency. Of course, there is pendency. We cannot run away from reality. But the fact remains is that there are a lot of causes for this pendency. For instance, the pandemic in 2020 has created a backlog in the entire world, not only in India. And obviously, considering the extent of population in India, this backlog is going to have tremendous repercussions. It is not only because of this reason that the alternate dispute redressal mechanism has been thought of as the most appropriate mechanism, but there are very many other reasons why that alternate dispute redressal mechanism is more effective and does true justice to the parties. I am glad that today is also the inaugural of the moot court competition. Through these various lectures, debates and competitions, the students become aware and understand the importance of Indian Constitution. I wish all the participants the very best. I am sure that with the vibrant group of students, the debates will generate new thoughts, ideas, and the way forward to preserve the spirit and ethos of our Constitution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thought-provoking and valuable views with all of us and for making us aware of such crucial facts from the constitutional history of India.
Today, we are indeed privileged to have amongst us Dr. K.D. Singh, Director Law and Central Public Information Officer at the Competition Commission of India. Sir is a legal professional with vast experience across various sectors of the economy, particularly dealing with the antitrust matters. He was also associated with the Antitrust Division of the Competition Commission of India. Sir has also domain expertise in public policy matters, particularly with their interface with competition law and policy. Presently, Sir additionally holds the charge of Information Officer of the CCI under the Transparency Law. Before joining the CCI, Sir was working as an Assistant Professor of Law at CLC Faculty of Law, University of Delhi for over 5 years. He has also practiced law before various courts, tribunals and regulatory bodies. We heartily welcome you, sir, and now I request you to kindly address the audience with your words of wisdom.
Honorable Justice Jayant Nath ji, Sri Sudhanshu Batra ji, Senior Advocate, Management of Maharaja Agrasen Institutes, teachers and students. Today is indeed a momentous day in the legal and constitutional history of India. A lot has been said about the history and the background in which our constitution was adopted in grafting the guiding values for our three organs of the state. I am not going to repeat those values, but to highlight that constitution is not a petrified parchment. It is a dynamic and organic document which has evolved over the last many decades. More than 100 amendments to the Constitution is testimony to the fact that the lawmakers have remained alive to the emerging and evolving needs of the welfare state. No one generation can have a monopoly of wisdom to bind future generations. And every generation is a new nation which has to define its own charter. And keeping that in view, the document has been amended and modified from time to time. So it is indeed heartening that this day the Institute has chosen to not only celebrate but to also inaugurate the National Moot Court Competition. Mooting is a very important art, and as a budding lawyers and professionals, it is a great opportunity to imbibe lawyering skills from the law school stage itself. Over the years, the legal profession has become increasingly more professional. Now gone are the days when law used to be taken or adopted as a last recourse after failing in attempts at medical or engineering. Today it is a very sought after discipline in our country in line with global practices. Without taking much time, I must also mention that this moot proposition is on a criminal law subject, and I am sure the Moot Court Society will also think about some new emerging areas of law like competition law. Now, competition law is an economic law. It is an economic regulatory law. Now, these are the disciplines which will equip you to practice before regulators and tribunals. And CCI would be very happy to extend its collaboration by way of resource persons and other arrangements for such events, because it is also the statutory mandate of CCI as a part of its advocacy initiatives to spread awareness and to impart training of competition law among all the relevant stakeholders. I also encourage the Moot Court Society that apart from having a moot court competition on competition law itself, to send the students for internship at CCI. That will provide you an inside view of the working of the regulator. With these words, I once again thank the management of the Maharaja Agrasen Institutes and the principal for organizing this event and for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Your address highlighted the importance of mooting and learning the court crafts and beautifully relates it to the noble legal profession. Thank you so much for your suggestion of suggesting that we need to explore the domain of competition law and other commercial laws through mooting and moot court competitions. I would further like to thank you for extending a warm invitation to all the students of Maharaja Agresen Department of Law for the internships. Thank you, sir.
We are honored to have amongst us Honorable Mr. Justice Jayantnath, who has been a former judge in Delhi High Court. Sir did his schooling from Delhi Public School, Mathura Road, New Delhi. Thereafter did BA Honours in Economics from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and LLB from Faculty of Law, Delhi University in 1982. Sir has practiced as an advocate in Supreme Court of India, Delhi High Court, and various tribunals including Central Administrative Tribunal, Principal Bench, New Delhi, National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, etc. Sir has been a standing counsel for DESU from 1995 to 2002. Sir has also represented various public sector undertakings, banks, etc. Sir has also been trained as mediator by Delhi High Court Mediation and Conciliation Centre and conducted various mediations therein. Sir conducted cases relating to various laws like service, labour, arbitration, constitution and administrative law. Sir was designated as Senior Advocate by High Court of Delhi in May 2006 and appointed as Additional Judge of Delhi High Court on 17th April 2013 and became a permanent judge on 18th March 2015. It is an honor to have you amongst us, sir. Now, I would humbly request you to address the audience with your kind words. Please, sir. Thank you.
Mr. K.D. Singh, Mr. Sudhanshu Batra, Dr. Nankishore Garg, Professor Garg, Professor Ravi Kumar Gupta, and Professor Rajni Malhotra, and most important, dear students. Good evening to all of you. I am sure it's a privilege to participate in the second moot court competition organized here. I am quite envious of all of you participants today. The reason being that in 1982, when I passed out from law, there were hardly any moot courts. In fact, to my recollection, in the 3 years that I spent in the law faculty, there was only one moot court competition that took place. I missed out that opportunity, that exposure to public speaking and public submission of legal arguments that a moot court teaches you and that a participant of moot court will learn while arguing in the moot court. So the net result was that when I argued my first case in the Delhi High Court, I was nervous, my legs were trembling, and I barely was able to make my submissions. It took quite some exposure and appearances in the court to be able to develop the confidence, the articulation, and the skill to deliver comprehensive arguments in court. So, the importance of moot courts, and that is why I envy all the, I think, 46 teams who are participating today in the moot court. What is a moot court? In the legal system in USA, it is defined as a matter which is said to be moot if further legal proceedings with regard to it can have no effect or events have placed it beyond the reach of law. Therefore, the matter is deprived of practical significance. That is how in America they define moot. but I'm sure all of you are going to have a good experience while participating in the moot court. Now, of course, we are here for a lot of serious talk. Today is the Constitution Day. We will hear a lot about India's Constitution. While debating, I'm told you have a subject which will again have a lot of technical and legal skills. I have one question, and perhaps one of you can answer. In your college life, which is the best place that you enjoy? Who's going to answer that question? I think I've foxed everyone. My answer would be the canteen. I wonder if I forgot to ask Professor Malhotra as to how good the canteen here is. I can't forget the canteen in my St. Stephen's College or in the Law College. There was in fact in the Law College a chai dhaba on the boundary wall inside the complex, which was the favorite spot where you could go and meet anyone whom you wanted to meet. And of course, next was the playfields. I was just observing that some of the courts are functional in the college, but I'll request Mr. Garg that one of the playing fields seem to be under construction. Perhaps we can hasten up the functioning of the playfields, because children also learn a lot when they play and spend time on the playing fields. As we all said, all just know that today is being celebrated as the Constitution Day. It was in 1949 that the Constituent Assembly adopted India's Constitution, though it came into effect on 26 January 1950. The Constituent Assembly that framed India's Constitution first sat in December 1946. As already pointed out, it is the longest constitution in the world. The foundation of the Constitution is that it lays down the basic political structure of India, namely a parliamentary democracy, a republic with a federal structure. It defines three organs of the Republic of India: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. It defines their powers as well as demarcates their responsibilities. It has undergone more than 100 amendments in the last few years. The people of India are the custodian of the Constitution. These are all, of course, serious discussions about the Constitution of India, which I will leave to Professor Rajni Malhotra and her eminent teachers to explain to you all in due course. I will mention something which is not a legal aspect. There are certain interesting aspects regarding drafting of India's Constitution, which perhaps few would know. When the Constitution was being drafted, it was Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, who requested Shri Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada to write by calligraphy India's first constitution. The original constitution has been written by him in flowing italic style. He has rendered a document of about 395 articles and 8 schedules in 6 months' time. He incorporated his flowing style of calligraphy into the document using hundreds of nib pens in the course of his writing. Before he commenced writing by his hand the Constitution of India, he was asked how much he will charge for writing the Constitution. His reply was, not a single penny. But on every page of the Constitution that I'll write my name. And on the last page, I'll write the name of my grandfather. This proposition was accepted. The further interesting part is that the Constitution as written was also illustrated by Shri Nandlal Bose, who along with his team of illustrators used indigenous methods using gold leaf and stone colors. Each part of the constitution begins with depiction of a phase or scene from India's national history. The artworks and illustrations are rendered largely in miniature style and go through India's history, ranging from Mohenjo-daro, the Maurya period, the Gupta empires, the Mughal era, and India's freedom movement. The finished manuscript, I believe, consists of about 234 pages and weighs about 4 kilograms. The manuscript, original manuscript, both in English and Hindi, signed in original by members of the Constituent Assembly, is kept in special helium-filled cases in the Central Library of Parliament. So I thought I would speak on this aspect about how the original Constitution has been drafted. There was a observation made by one of the learned speakers about pendency of cases. I, in my farewell speech, which I gave in the High Court 2 weeks ago, had flagged this issue and had clearly pointed out that public perception is to blame the courts for the delay. Unfortunately, what is perhaps due to bad communication skills of the courts not brought forth is that both the court and the members of the bar work very hard to try and dispose of cases at a speedy delivery, at a speedy pace. There are issues which perhaps this is not the right forum to explain regarding infrastructure, regarding ratio of judges and the Indian population. Each judge on an average has anything from 50 to 100 cases a day. I mean, his court hours are the normal 24 hours that are available to him. Perhaps you can understand, it depends how much can he dispose in a day. There was an observation about why judgments which are heard are reserved for a year or so. The answer is perhaps if you see the arguments are gone that normally in such kind of matters go on for hours. Senior counsels like Mr. Sudhanshu Batra, they take hours to argue the matter. You go into previous precedents, judicial orders, and after 8-9 hours of arguments, what is then culled out is about a 50-page or 100-page document. I think this is not one document, one matter that is reserved. At the time there are dozens of matters lying reserved. So the time it takes to deliver judgments, it depends. Sometimes judgments are delivered the next day or immediately on the same day. But that all depends what is the nature of the case, what is the type of board, and so on and so forth. Well, that's all. I think I would not like to add further. I wish all the competing teams all the best. May the best debater win. Thanks a lot, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your impeccable knowledge with all of us and for highlighting the importance of moot court competitions so distinctly. It was indeed an honor for all of us to learn about your experience.
Now please allow me to introduce Dr. Nand Kishore Garg sir, the founder chair and chief advisor of MAIDS, the Chancellor of Maharaja Agrasen University, Batti. Sir has been a significant source of inspiration and motivation for achieving the aims and goals of MAIDS. An eminent figure amongst the masses, Dr. Nand Kishore Garg sir, with his humanitarian attributes, has always contributed selflessly not only in building the Maharaja Agrasen Technical Education Society, but has also been contributing a great deal in bringing together various driving forces who move forward in making the future of the nation brighter every day. Now, I would like to request Sir to kindly address the gathering with his words of wisdom.
नमस्कार, जस्टिस जयंतनाथ जी, सुधांशु बत्रा जी, डॉक्टर सिंह साहब, रवि कुमार जी, एस.के. गर्ग जी, रजनी मल्होत्रा ढींगरा जी और इस सभागार में उपस्थित सभी आने वाले समय में बहुत ही अच्छे बनने वाले जज, अच्छे वकील और अच्छे भारतीय नागरिक। अभी आपको बताया 26 नवंबर, उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस बताई। 26 नवंबर के साथ 2008 में एक बहुत बड़ी दुखद घटना भी जुड़ गई, जब इस देश को अंदर से नेस्तनाबूद करने की घटना हुई और एक ही दिन में सैकड़ों लोग मारे गए और हमारे प्राइड के ऊपर चोट की गई थी ताज होटल पर और बाकी सब आक्रमण करके। अब 26 नवंबर जिस दिन सबके हस्ताक्षर हुए और जिस दिन संविधान को हमने अपने आप को ही समर्पित किया, जस्टिस साहब ने थोड़ा बहुत आज डिटेल में ये भी बताया कि इसको फ्रेम करने में या इसके चित्रों के महत्व, ये भी अभी शुरू हुआ है 2-3 साल से ही, अन्यथा ये कॉपी नहीं मिलती थी जिसमें चित्र हो। इस देश के जो सो कॉल्ड फाउंडिंग करता धरता थे, पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे, उन्होंने क्या क्या किया है ये नई पीढ़ी को पता चलना चाहिए, और कैसे उसके अंदर ही उनके ही साथियों ने इसमें कैसे इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को थोड़ा सा भारतीय बनाने की कोशिश की गई। बड़ा अजीब शब्द लगेगा, कंट्राडिक्टरी लगेगा, पूरा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़ लें आपको भारत केवल एक बार आएगा, उसके अंदर आत्मा नाम की चीज़ थी नहीं। भारत का संविधान है, मैं भी उसकी शपथ लेकर MLA बना हूँ, उसकी कई बार हमने उसको माना है, 125 बार उसमें संशोधन हुआ। तो ये तो एक बात है कि डायनेमिक है, हमारा कोई एक डेड डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है, उसमें परिवर्तनशील है, समय के अनुसार उसमें परिवर्तन हुए हैं, होने भी चाहिए, अभी भी कई होने बाकी हैं, क्योंकि हम समझते भारत के संविधान में सारे कानून इसी में हैं। आप सारा पढ़ने के बाद भी लगभग 450 इसके वो पढ़ेंगे तो आपको जो प्रैक्टिस में जो कानून है उसमें तो मेंशन भी नहीं है। इसमें जो मैकाले ने 1857 के बाद जितने कानून बनाए, इंडियन पेनल कोड से शुरू करके CRPC, वो प्रोसीजर कोड जितने हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट लॉ, उनका कोई मेंशन इसमें नहीं है, मुझे तो कम से कम नहीं लगा, और मेंशन है ही नहीं, तो इसलिए वो इसके पार्ट तो नहीं है डायरेक्टली। सिंह साहब इस चीज़ को प्रोफेसर भी रहे तो मानेंगे। तो भारत का संविधान इतना बड़ा भी बन गया कि सबसे लेंथी है, और ब्रिटिश में जो डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम है आज भी मोनार्चिक भी है, लिखित का कोई बहुत बड़ा संविधान नहीं। तो हमारे संविधान में कई चीज़ों का, जैसे कि हम नोट्स बनाते थे जब पढ़ते थे, तो फ्रांस वाला भी पढ़ लिया, जब ब्रिटिश भी पढ़ लिया, अमेरिकन भी पढ़ लिया, तो नोट्स थोड़े बल्कि हो जाएंगे, बड़े बन जाएंगे। तो बड़ा तो बनना ही था, पर बेसिकली क्या है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पहला पेज ही पढ़ेंगे तो 1935 का जो एक्ट है किसने पास किया था? इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंट एक्ट या जो भी उसका नाम है, किसने पास किया था? और हमें जो आज़ादी मिली वो कहाँ से पास हुई? अभी कड़वे प्रश्न हैं, इसको कोई पूछ ले तो उसको वो आज के ट्रोलिंग बोलते क्या है, वो करना शुरू कर दें। ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट ने हमें अपने यहाँ से पास किया है। अब हम कहते हैं इस रिपब्लिक हमने पहले दिन मान लिया, 26 नवंबर 49 को रिपब्लिक हमने अपने आप को दिया है, तो उस दिन रिपब्लिक हो गया। तो प्रेसिडेंट कब बना? कुछ प्रश्न ऐसे हैं जिसको कोई पूछेगा भी नहीं,
जवाब भी शायद किसी पे नहीं हो। जैसे मुकदमों के बारे में कितना ही हम एक्सप्लेन करें, देर क्यों है, पेंडेंसी क्यों है, रिजर्व जजमेंट इतने कितने दिन हो, लिमिटेशन एक्ट भी बना हुआ है इस देश में हर चीज़ का, तो आखिर जजमेंट डिलीवरी का भी कोई लिमिटेशन पीरियड 3 महीने 6 महीने तो, और रिटायर हो जाए तब भी जजमेंट डिलीवर ना करें तो उसका क्या होगा। आज भी कितने कानून हैं जो पार्लियामेंट से पास होने के बाद लागू नहीं हो पाए, जिसमें दिल्ली का ये एक टेनेंसी एक्ट भी है, राष्ट्रपति की कंसेंट के बाद लागू नहीं, वो भी है। पर ये सारे तो आपको अब तो 5 साल मिलेंगे पढ़ने को, पढ़ाए जा सकते हैं यदि टीचर चाहे तो। हमारे टाइम में जो 3 साल थे उसमें भी हम कितने अटेंड करते थे सीरियसली, ये मूट कोर्ट और ये तो सब बात की चीज़ें हैं। हमने तो 1970 से 80 में किया भी जब पार्लियामेंट के आधी पार्लियामेंट जेल के अंदर थी, और उसके अंदर ये जो शब्द जोड़े गए सेकुलर सोशलिस्ट, किस पार्लियामेंट ने जोड़े? जो पार्लियामेंट आधी अधूरी थी, जिसका वजूद 1975 के बाद नहीं होना चाहिए था। उसने अपने ब्रूटल मेजोरिटी और सब नेता जेल में, अनडिफाइंड टर्म। इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इतनी अनडिफाइंड टर्म है, कोई मुझे सेकुलर की डेफिनेशन कोई बता दे, सोशलिस्ट की कोई बता दे। सोशलिस्ट शब्द आउटडेटेड होकर लगभग अपनी मौत खुद मर चुका है, और सेकुलर शब्द के ऊपर ट्रांसलेशन पर LM सिंघवी साहब, जो मैं समझता हूँ कि वन ऑफ द प्रोमिनेंट एडवोकेट थे, इंटरनेशनल लेवल के थे, और हिंदी के बहुत प्रबल आग्रही थे, और इंडिपेंडेंट जीत के आए थे 71 में पार्लियामेंट। उनका इस बात पे ही बहस रही, इंदिरा जी ने कहा इसका शब्द बताओ, तो उन्होंने बताया पंथ निरपेक्ष या सर्वधर्म समभाव। उन्होंने कहा मैं तो एग्री नहीं करूंगी, चला ये आपकी इच्छा है। उसके बावजूद हिंदी के ट्रांसलेशन में पंथ निरपेक्ष शब्द आया। तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में सेकुलर क्या है? सेकुलर शब्द कहाँ से उत्पन्न हुआ? यूरोप में। क्यों हुआ? कि क्रिश्चियनिटी हावी रहे या राजा हावी रहे, इसके ऊपर बहस चलती थी, इसलिए एक सेकुलर शब्द कढ़ा है। तो हमारे देश की रेलेवेंस का यहाँ तो परिपाटी शुरू से सर्वधर्म समभाव, सभी धर्मों का धर्म क्या है? ड्यूटी। इसको हमने रिलीजन मान लिया, क्योंकि 70 साल प्रैक्टिस ऐसी की है हमने, ऐसे शब्द जाल बनाए मीडिया ने कि धर्म का अर्थ हमने केवल पूजा पद्धति मान लिया, जबकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट खुद क्लियर कर चुका वे ऑफ लाइफ है, हिंदू धर्म नहीं है। हिंदू धर्म है भी नहीं, तो क्योंकि मुस्लिम को धर्म कहने लगे तो हिंदू धर्म हो गया। अब सिख की क्या परिभाषा है? कोई परिभाषा नहीं डिफाइन। सारे के सारे क्लब कर दिए कि जो ईसाई नहीं है, मुस्लिम नहीं है, वो सब के सब एक ब्रॉडर सेंस में हिंदू हैं। तो ये सब चीज़ें क्लियर विद्यार्थियों को स्कूल लेवल से करें, फिर लॉ वालों को तो बिल्कुल ही क्लियर होनी चाहिए। उसी पे तो आधारित फिर प्रैक्टिस बनेगी, उसी के आधारित फिर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। अभी भी जो नंदलाल बोस की बात आई, बहुत बड़े चित्रकार थे। अंदर की स्टोरी ये थी कि सारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हो गया, एक सिग्नेचर आप कभी देखें, थोड़ा ध्यान से देखना। सबसे पहला सिग्नेचर किसका होना चाहिए था? सिंह साहब, जो संविधान को समर्पित कर रहे हैं। संविधान सभा में जितने भी 380-85 जो मेंबर थे, बाकी पाकिस्तान वाले चले गए, पहला हस्ताक्षर किसका होना चाहिए? चेयरमैन होना चाहिए ना। पहला हस्ताक्षर डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद का ड्यू बनता है, और दूसरा होना चाहिए अम्बेडकर जी का, ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के चेयरमैन के नाते। परंतु इस देश का एक बहुत ही प्रोग्रेसिव, बहुत ही एजुकेटेड, वेस्टर्न एजुकेटेड, आप कॉपी उठा के देखें, पहला हस्ताक्षर स्वयं कर दिया। जगह नहीं बची तो राजेंद्र प्रसाद ने ऊपर जाके जब वो बाकी हस्ताक्षर थे उसके साइड में किया। और उसमें हिंदी में करके ब्रैकेट में लिखा मिलेगा, इंग्लिश में डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद। क्यों? कोई नहीं पूछेगा। एक बार आप सबको देखना चाहिए, और ये जो चित्र वाली सबको देखनी चाहिए, एक एक चित्र का इसके अंदर महत्व है। आखिरी हस्ताक्षर फिरोज गांधी का है, पहला जवाहरलाल नेहरू का। अब उसने बेचारा राजेंद्र प्रसाद सीधा साधा आदमी था, उसने क्या कहता उसको, उसने थोड़ा उसके ऊपर, एक्चुअल क्रम में तो नहीं है वो। अब क्यों होती रही है हमारी जो बर्दाश्त की गलत लोगों की गलत चीज़ों की करके देश का क्या पहुँचे। आखिर 70 साल में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे आज भी मैं आपसे पूछूं कि 26 नवंबर को क्यों मनाया गया, और 26 जनवरी के 2 महीने हम क्या करते रहे। जब आप थोड़ा बहुत ये दे देंगे, तैयारी कर रहे थे, इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया बनाना था, इलेक्शन कराने थे 52 में, एक्चुअल जवाब नहीं है किसी के पास। एक व्यक्ति को लगा कि मैंने पहली बार 26 जनवरी को, मेरा जन्मदिन है बाई चांस वो में, और लाहौर में रावी के किनारे एक शपथ ली थी हमने पूर्ण आज़ादी की। कौन से सन में ली थी बच्चे बताएंगे? 1930 के आसपास ही था एंड। अब ये तो याद है कि लाहौर के किनारे 26 जनवरी, तो भाई वो रावी का किनारा और वो लाहौर इस देश का हिस्सा क्यों नहीं हुए? 47 तक लाहौर पाकिस्तान का हिस्सा नहीं है। अक्टूबर में जाकर लेडी माउंटबेटन के प्रेशर से जिन्ना के आग्रह पर कि मुझे एक बड़ा शहर मिलना चाहिए, और कलकत्ता इसलिए नहीं दिया कि वहाँ इंटेलिजेंट लोग थे बंगाली, उन्होंने कलकत्ता बचा लिया, बदले में लाहौर चला गया, क्योंकि मुझे इसलिए मालूम है कि मेरे पिता या फोरफादर उसी साइड पर थे, और वो 2-3 महीने इसी प्रतीक्षा में थे कि लाहौर तो भारत में जाएगा। हम आज की पीढ़ी को बताएं तो सब कुछ, और बताने के बाद उनको सोचने दें। भारत का पहला लॉ मिनिस्टर और भारत का पहला उद्योग मंत्री और 10-12 गांधी जी ने जीवन में बहुत अच्छे काम किए, कमी निकालने वाले निकाल लेंगे, पर गांधी जी ने 2 अच्छे काम किए मेरे हिसाब से उस समय, जब उनको लगा कि पार्टीशन होगा और मेरी लाश पे होगा कहने वाले भी होगा, तो 2 नॉन कांग्रेसी लोगों को इंटरिम सरकार से जोड़ा। पहले डॉक्टर अंबेडकर थे और दूसरे डॉक्टर श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी थे। अच्छा, पाकिस्तान का पहला लॉ मिनिस्टर कौन था, कौन बताएंगे? लॉ के स्टूडेंट में इसलिए पूछ रहा हूँ, समय लग रहा होगा थोड़ा। एनीबॉडी? पाकिस्तान का पहला कानून मंत्री ऑफ द डाइस पूछ रहा हूँ, नहीं ना? एनीबॉडी? अब ये हम कानून के विद्यार्थी हैं, पढ़ाने वाले भी बैठे हैं, थोड़ा अपना विजन बढ़ाना पड़ेगा। अगर यदि होलिस्टिक और कानून का अंदर तक जाना है, बहस करनी है, कई घंटे करनी है, तो पहला कानून मंत्री मंडल थे, जो जिन्ना के बहकावे में आकर और एक जिले में मतगणना से तय हुआ था कि जिला पाकिस्तान में जाए या भारत में। नाम बता सकते हैं? नहीं बड़ी मंडल बंगाली थे, ये हिंट दे रहा हूँ। सिलहट एक जिला था जिसकी पॉपुलेशन ऐसी थी कि शेड्यूल कास्ट वोट मुस्लिम की तरफ जुड़ जाए तो मेजोरिटी, तो वो उसने बहकाई में आके, लालच में आके उधर वोटिंग करा दी, और वो 52% पे एक ही जगह वो हुआ था रेफरेंडम, और सिलहट पाकिस्तान चला गया। वो लॉ मिनिस्टर बन गए। 5 साल के बाद जो दुर्गति हुई, वो पाकिस्तान से भारत वापस आए, एक मतलब ऐसी मौत मरेगी जिसकी किसी की चर्चा नहीं बनी। दुखी होकर हिंदुओं का जब कत्लेआम हुआ बांग्लादेश में, कानून मंत्री होकर कुछ नहीं कर पाए, तो वो वापस भारत आके शरण लेके यहाँ रहा। ये मालूम इसलिए होना चाहिए कि सेकुलर शब्द का अर्थ सबको समझ में आ जाए, डेमोक्रेसी का शब्द समझ में आ जाए, रिपब्लिक का समझ सबको आ जाए, क्योंकि कुछ अनडिफाइंड टर्म है। गणराज्य, यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स। तो यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स है तो पूरी तरह ना तो हमारा यूनियन की तरह हम बर्ताव करते हैं, इसीलिए केजरीवाल का झगड़ा, कभी इसका झगड़ा, कभी उसका झगड़ा है ना इस देश में, रहेंगे भी। डेमोक्रेसी में सबको मित भंत वो रहेगा, परंतु जो अंडरलाइन क्या है, इंटीग्रिटी और भारत की एकता, उसके ऊपर भी खुलेआम कोई बोले, तोड़ने की बात बोले। और भारत की जुडिशरी के लिए फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, कन्हैया ने बोल दिया तो कोई बात नहीं। तो हमारी मूलभूत स्वतंत्रता, व्यक्तिगत स्वतंत्रता को महत्व है, अभिव्यक्ति को महत्व है, या भारत की एकता को, भारत की सॉवरेनिटी को है। अब ये प्रश्न है जिसके उत्तर 70-75 साल से नहीं मिले, अब मिलने चाहिए, क्योंकि अब सोशल मीडिया में लोग जागरूक हो गए। इन चित्रों का भी क्यों डाले थे, एक दो लाइन में बता दूं तो आपको लोग, फिर आप क्यूरियोसिटी से ढूंढना है यूट्यूब पे, इस पे, उस पे। ये चित्र, ये जब सब कुछ हो गया, हस्ताक्षर हो गए, तो अम्बेडकर जी, राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी और सरदार पटेल बैठे, यानी इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में यार बन गया, बहुत अच्छा हो गया, हस्ताक्षर हो गए, इसमें अब शब्द तो बदल नहीं सकते। इसके अंदर भारत कैसे डाला गया, इस पूरे संविधान में भारत को कैसे इंट्रोड्यूस करें, और शब्द बदलने नहीं है, क्योंकि जब सबके हस्ताक्षर हो गए तो फाइनल है, वो तो ड्राफ्ट की बजाय अब तो वो हमने अडॉप्ट कर लिया। उसके लिए फिर इन 3 लोगों ने सलाह करके, नेहरू जी की इतनी सलाह ले ली कि यार इसमें कुछ चित्र डालने चाहिए। तो उस समय शांति निकेतन, रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर, बड़ा नाम है, विश्व भारती और नंदलाल बोस सबसे बड़े चित्रकारों में से एक, उनकी टीम बुलाई गई। कुछ चित्रकार आंध्रा के भी जुड़े, 150-200 चित्र बने, उनमें से शायद 20-22 जैन जी छांटे गए। इसके अंदर आपको लगेगा कि भारत उन्होंने घुमा फिरा कर गुरुकुल भी डाल दिया, रामचंद्र जी भी डाल दिए, भगवान कृष्ण भी अर्जुन को देते हुए डाल दिए, विक्रमादित्य भी डाल दिया, और वैदिक काल से लेके मोहनजोदड़ो और शॉर्ट करने की बोल, ये आपको पढ़ाना है। और मैं अगली बार ये जो मूड कोड के साथ साथ ये प्रश्न पूछवाऊंगा। लॉ कॉलेज हम इसलिए चला रहे हैं कि डेट लेने वाले, डेट लेने के भी पैसे खाने वाले, एक दिन में 1-1 करोड़ रुपए कमाने वाले वकील बहुत है, रहेंगे। परंतु मैं वो चाह रहा हूँ जो गरीबों के लिए, जो आप भी कहते हैं लीगल एड सोसाइटी, ये वो, उनके अंदर, बच्चों के अंदर इंटरेस्ट पैदा हो। और वो जब ही होगा जब आपको कानून की समझ होगी। और कानून केवल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से नहीं निकला है, राइट फ्रॉम मनुस्मृति, जितनी स्मृतियाँ हैं वो थोड़ी थोड़ी पढ़नी चाहिए। चाणक्य को पढ़ना चाहिए, चाणक्य के से बढ़िया इसके अंदर भी उसका मेंशन है, विक्रमादित्य का मेंशन। विक्रमादित्य के बारे में कोई नहीं पढ़ाएगा जिसके नाम पर संवत चलता हो। इसलिए भारतीय बनना जरूरी है। नई राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति में उसके अंदर से चीज़ें निकलेंगी। आपका सौभाग्य कि आने वाले समय में आप पढ़ेंगे और अच्छे भारतीय बने, अच्छे विश्व नागरिक बने, क्योंकि सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिना कहने वाली केवल पूरे विश्व में एक संस्कृति, वो मेरी आपकी संस्कृति। सर्व माता भूमि पुत्रो अहम पृथिव्या, ये पृथ्वी मेरी माँ है, हम सब इसके बेटे हैं। कहाँ जाति पाती है, कहाँ भेद है? इससे बढ़िया इक्वलिटी की बात कहाँ होगी? न जाति की बात है, न लिंग की बात है, न छोटे बड़े की बात। तो हम अपनी भारतीयता को धीरे धीरे मजबूत करें। अच्छा नेतृत्व मिला है और अपनी 14 भाषाएं इसमें लिखित हैं। शायद आजकल 22 है सर, आजकल 22 होगी ना, और हम उनका प्रयोग ही नहीं करेंगे। मूलों के काल में अरबी फारसी में सामने वाले को मालूम ही नहीं क्या बोल रहे, क्या लिख रहे हैं। थाने में रिपोर्ट क्या लिख रहे हैं किसी को मालूम ही नहीं। उसके बाद इंग्लिश में, आज भी इंग्लिश पढ़ने लिखने लायक मुश्किल से 5% पढ़ने लायक, लिखने लायक तो 2% ही। एक पेज ठीक कोई मुझे ग्रेजुएट लिखते जो हमारे टाइम में जिसको ठीक कहते नहीं है, और फिर नकल करके प्रियम्बल पढ़ा, उसमें 2 गलती आई एक पेज में। तो गुप्ता जी मैडम क्या देख रहे थे? बिलीफ का ब्रीफ आ गया है, उसका हुआ है। क्यों आया? नकल भी ढंग से नहीं कर सकेंगे क्या? दिल्ली के बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स DU के बाद या 12वीं के बाद हमारे यहाँ आ रहे हैं भगवान के लिए, और उनको पढ़ाने वाले भी उतने ही बढ़िया होने चाहिए। हम जब सब सुविधा दे रहे हैं, थोड़ा कोर्ट वगैरह का इशारा किया, 18 महीने बाद हमने क्लास लगाई सर। अभी IP यूनिवर्सिटी ने अभी तक अलाउ नहीं किया है, वो एक तारीख से सोच रहे हैं। कंस्ट्रक्शन में पिछले 18 महीने में 20 बार बैन लगा, कभी पर्यावरण के कारण, कभी किसी का। और IP यूनिवर्सिटी के माध्यम से कैसे कॉलेज चलाना है आपको अंदाजा है। आप खुद कह रहे हैं मैं एजुकेशन देखता है। सबसे ज़्यादा लिटिगेशन IP यूनिवर्सिटी का दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट को जाता है ना इफेक्ट। उस माहौल में इनसे टक्कर लेते हुए, अपना स्टैंडर्ड बनाए रखते हुए, एक्चुअल में नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट किसी एक व्यक्ति एक परिवार का कॉलेज नहीं है, ये कॉलेज समाज का है। कोई भी ओपन इसमें डेमोक्रेटिक ढंग से ट्रस्टी आज भी बन सकता है, कोई भेदभाव कास्ट ग्रेड का नहीं है। और हर 3 साल में बाकायदा हम डेमोक्रेटिक ढंग से इलेक्शन करते हैं। और इस कॉलेज को हमारा मन ये है कि हम इसको नेशनल लॉ कॉलेज, जो जिसके आप लोग चेयरमैन दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट या बाकी स्टेट हाई कोर्ट है, उसके बराबर का स्टैंडर्ड दे पाएँ। जबकि फीस या उस पर खर्चा पर स्टूडेंट्स का नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी में एक विद्यार्थी पर सरकार का खर्चा 10 लाख रुपए साल का, और हमें 1 लाख रुपए कम की फीस देते हैं। हमसे एक्सपेक्टेशन उसके बराबर का है, काम करें। हम करेंगे। टीचर हमारे मेहनती हैं, विद्यार्थी बहुत इंटेलिजेंट हैं। मिलके इस देश को इन ट्रू स्पिरिट, लेटर एंड स्पिरिट, संविधान को आत्मसात करेंगे। भारत का जो वैदिक जीवन से अब तक का जो जीवन है, उसके आधार पर अपना जीवन बनाएंगे। माँ बाप की सेवा करने वाले लोग समाज की सेवा वही कर पाएगा जो पहले अपनी माँ की सेवा करे, अपने परिवार का ध्यान करे, परंतु परिवारवादी ना बने। देश हित और पूरे विश्व का कल्याण करें, ऐसी सामर्थ्य भगवान आप हमें दें। हम भारत के संविधान निर्माताओं ने बहुत लोगों के बलिदान के बाद, ये बिना मांगे नहीं मिली थी, मांगने से नहीं मिलती आज़ादी के। वो प्रदीप भैया ने कैसे गीत लिख दिए होंगे, परंतु ये नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस, शहीद भगत सिंह, शहीद उधम सिंह, जिसने 20 साल तक अपनी कल्पना को, अपने संकल्प को जीवित रख के 20 साल बाद बदला लिया था इंग्लैंड में। ऐसे लोगों के कारण देश आज़ाद हुआ है, और आंदोलनों से भी हुआ है। परंतु वीर सावरकर से लेके जो 20-20 साल कोल्हू के बैल में पिलते रहे, उनके ऊपर आज कंट्रोवर्सी करे कोई आदमी। 3-3 भाई इकट्ठे जेल में रहे हों, चाफेकर बंधु 3-3 भाइयों को फांसी के फंदे पे चुमा, 3 भाई एक परिवार के, उनके बारे में जिक्र भी नहीं होगा। और जिक्र होगा कुछ 1-2 लोगों का ही, तो कितने दिन हुआ? 70 साल 75 साल में सब भूल भाल गए, भूल जाएंगे। देश शाश्वत है, हजारों साल से है, हजारों साल रहे। ये आपकी हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड करता है। देश को तोड़ने वाली शक्तियाँ बहुत तेजी से लगी हुई हैं, परंतु देश को बचाने वाले असंख्य वीर हैं, शहादत देते आज भी देते हैं, और उसके लिए प्रयासशील हैं। देश आगे बढ़े, उसके लिए हम सब लोग समर्पित भाव से काम करेंगे। जय हिंद।
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your promising thoughts. Your words helped us comb back through the eminent pages of our history, and I'm sure your guidance will help us all go a long way.
Moving ahead, last year we inaugurated our first national moot court competition and catered to more than 120 participants from 42 teams across India. The moot proposition was a parcel of enlightenment dealing with pressing and contemporary issues of criminal jurisprudence, and law students from across India dedicated themselves to this challenge. Reflecting upon our very first National Moot Court competition is definitely a vivid experience. The 3 days event was full of excitement, learning, team spirit, and enthusiasm. The virtual walls of the courtrooms were echoing the arguments of the young counsels. Indeed, the competition was a humongous success. Today, as we celebrate the inauguration of our second National Moot Court competition, we are reminded that last year, even during the trying times of the pandemic, Department of Law MAIMS kept its oath to give back to the community and help nurture the skills of law students across India. And to mark the anniversary of our first National Moot Court competition, I cannot think of any other way but to release our first National Moot Court competition souvenir.
The official National Moot Court Competition Souvenir is an insightful catalogue that celebrates the trials and victories of our Moot Court Committee and reflects upon the months of preparation that our committee and all the participants undertook. It's a token of remembrance and appreciation for all the leading legal luminaries who graced our first National Moot Court competition with their presence and readily guided all the students in every courtroom. Now, I would like to welcome all the honorable dignitaries to release the official National Moot Court Competition souvenir.
Round of applause, please.
Before moving ahead, I would like to request all the honorable dignitaries to kindly please be seated in the front row of the auditorium as we move ahead for the event.
Thank you so much, Vamika. That was indeed a very graceful performance. Now, I would like to request our Principal Ma'am, Professor Dr. Rajni Malhotra Dhingra, to kindly present the vote of thanks. Please, ma'am.
A very good evening to Honorable Mr. Justice Jayant Nath, Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. K.D. Singh, Director Law and Central Public Information Officer, CCI, Mr. Sudhanshu Bhatra, Senior Advocate and Guest of the Honor, Dr. Nandkishore Gargji, Founder Chair and Chancellor Maharaja Agrasen University, Baddi, Professor Dr. S.K. Garg, Director General MEMS, Professor Dr. G.P. Govil, Advisor Mates, Professor Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, Director MEMS, HODs of various departments, faculty members, participants, and my dear students. As we are celebrating the Constitution Day, the commitment has been shown by the budding advocates to follow and abide the philosophy of our Constitution. As democratic society is based on values like liberty, equality, fraternity, and dignity of the individual, and only educated and responsible youth can guarantee the same. Logical, creative, and constructive minds are the root for the growth of any democratic nation, and competition like moot court is an effort to provide the platform to the young mind to delve into a given problem and to defend the case of the given side in a logical manner. I congratulate all the participants as they are performing the very essential duty prescribed in the Constitution, and that is to strive toward excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that nation constantly rise to the higher level of endeavor and achievements. So, by participating in the moot court, you are striving towards becoming a good, ethical, and excellent advocate who knows how to protect his right, her right, and the right of the others. The journey of learning will be incomplete without the guidance of the learned people like Justice Jayant Nath, who readily accepted our invitation. This shows Sir's dedication towards students in particular and society in general. I am indebted to you, Sir, for sharing valuable views with the students, and thanks for highlighting the interesting facts regarding the framing of the Constitution. I am also thankful to Mr. K.D. Singh, Director Law and Central Public Information Officer, CCI, for gracing the event. Sir highlighted that the Constitution is a dynamic document. Sir, thanks for giving us the opportunity also to send a student to do the internship in the CCI. Thank you so much, sir. I am also thankful to Mr. Sudhanshu Bhatra, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, for gracing the event. Sir always helped us in all the endeavor we take for the progression of the student community. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Nothing big can be achieved without the blessing of the elders, our own. And I thank Dr. Nandkishore Gargji for sparing his valuable time despite the busy schedule to bless the student with the rich experience. Sir, your constant support is a guiding light for all of us. I am highly indebted to you for sparing your valuable time to bless us. I thank Professor Dr. S.K. Garg, Director General MEMS, for his guidance on each and every step Department of Law take. I also thank Professor Dr. Ravi Kumar Gupta, Director MEMS, for his valuable support to all of us. I thank my team consisting of Dr. Nisha Dhanraj Divani, Ms. Arushi Singh, Dr. Swati Bajaj Seth, Ms. Madhura Mohan, Ms. Sunidhi, and Ms. Akanksha. I thank my student team without whom this event could not be organized. And the student convener is Shivam Sethi. Then Sarthak Buddhi Raja, Ayushman Patnayak, Shivangi Singh, Harshit Arora, Harsh Maheshwari, Janvi Tanwar, Chahat Mittal, Dipantiya Singh, Prince Grover, Itisha, Vanshika, Purti, Samriti, Apurva Bhutani, Abhishek Vats. I also thanks to the sponsors who played a great role in organizing this event by giving the educational support, financial support to us. Pahuja Law Academy, MKA Legal, Logistics, Sony and Associate, Rivlet, Social Tipsy. I also thank our media and knowledge partner, SEC, Online and EBC, Memo Pandit, Law Octopus and Law Octopus Law School. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have been a source of guidance and inspiration for all of us, and your commitment to our development has remained unfettered throughout these years. It has indeed been a pleasure to learn under you. Moving on. जो भरा नहीं है भावों से, बहती जिसमें रसधार नहीं, वो हृदय नहीं, वो पत्थर है जिसमें स्वदेश का प्यार नहीं. With these words, I request you all to take a moment to pay homage to our motherland and kindly rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंग तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
The end of a story is the new beginning for many others. On this note, let's conclude a remarkable, memorable and a knowledgeable event. We express a heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has helped in making the celebration of the Constitution Day and this inaugural ceremony a great success. On behalf of the institution, we once again sincerely thank the dignitaries for being with us this evening and for enlightening us with their valuable remarks. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful and a fun-filled evening.